All right, guys. Well, it is good to be with you guys all. It is 7:30 on Wednesday morning, and this is going to be a time of sharing and fellowship. And we do have one missing elder. All the elders are here. We have one missing elder with us, and that's Robin Conwell, who's been buried with work, and we are going to miss him dearly. And so if Robin is watching this, we love you, brother, and we'll be praying. We just got done praying for you. So this morning, what I want to do is concentrate on a few topics. Last time we did this, I asked you guys to give a brief testimony of how you came to know the Lord. And today I want to ask you guys is to introduce yourself, your wife, and how long you've been married, and tell me something funny about during your whether wedding or your marriage or something that happened that you recall. So we'll start with you, Robert.
Robert Davis, obviously, and my wife, Delane. We've been married for 28 years. 4 boys now, and boy, something funny. When I guess in our wedding, my family was always known for stealing the bride and taking her off, and maybe you got her back that night, maybe you didn't. But anyway, so we were dead set against that happening. So we ended up right after the wedding through the reception wearing handcuffs, and so we were pretty much tied together for the night. But then as we were about ready to leave, we obviously had to take the handcuffs off, and that's when some of my cousins grabbed Delane and threw her in the back of the truck, and were taken off. So I had to run across the parking lot and jump in the back of the truck as well. So we went for a little ride.
Wow. See if you could top that one.
My name's Nick. My wife is Jackie. We have 2 boys, and we have one on the way, which we're excited about. We've been married for 35 years.
Wow.
Less 30 years. We celebrated 5 years in May of this year. And thinking about a story, when I first met Jackie, her dad was always an intimidation to me. If you've met Richard, he is an intimidating guy. He is in a good way, and now I have a great relationship with him. But I can remember when he first invited me out to Wyoming, and he said, "We're going to go shooting." And I grew up in the suburbs of Littleton, and I don't know if I knew how to hold a gun, to be honest. And so we went out to a field in Wyoming. I can remember as we were driving up just praying, "God, please don't let me make a fool of myself with these guns and in front of her dad." And Jackie was with me, so I really had to put on a show. And I remember pulling up, and I just had no idea what I was doing. And Jackie was great. She had a great shot, and I was still trying to figure out, I think, how to load the gun, how to hold it appropriately. So that was a humbling moment in our marriage, and I think it just continued down that path.
Oh, that's good. All right.
Chris and I have been married coming up on 42 years, and 2 boys and a number of grandkids. And as I was thinking about funny things, I'm thankful she thinks I'm funny. She laughs at my jokes. We have a good time together, just talking. But she did remind me, on our honeymoon, we were out. It was in San Francisco, and we're in this store, and she reminded me that I saw gray hair that she had, and I said, "Honey, you have a gray hair," and I pulled it out of her head in front of everybody, and I hear about that off and on. I would recommend you don't do that on your honeymoon, and things like that. It was when we were in this fancy hotel that night, this guy came to the door with something, and it just freaked me out. I said, "Get in the closet, honey, get in the closet." It was like getting caught or something, and it was just strange. So anyway, it's nice to be with her. She's a sweet lady.
So Nate Thomson, and my wife is Kim, and we've been married 23 years, have 5 kids. So let's see. Do you want the pre-engagement story, or do you want the first year of marriage story? First year of marriage. So our first year of marriage, we lived in Houston. I had grown up there. And she loves the outdoors. She loves to hike. She loves to go places. And so one weekend, we're both off work, and she says, "I want to go on a hike." And we're in Houston, Texas, in summer. And so you're talking 90% humidity, probably pushing 100 degrees, and bugs the size of your fist. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't want to do this. But I say, all right, well, let's find a place. And we went to Brazos Bend State Park. This is one of the kind of on the outskirts of Houston. And first thing we do, we get out of the car and just get swarmed by mosquitoes. So we have to get back in the car and go get bug spray. Forgot about the bug spray. Get the bug spray, layered the bug spray on, go back to the place, and you would expect that the mosquitoes would leave us alone. Well, no, they just kind of hang around waiting for the bug spray to. So they just kind of hung on this peripheral. So you just heard this thick cloud of mosquitoes around you, and so we start hiking on the paths, and there's all these beware of alligators and beware of snakes and at some point Kim's like, why did we do this? And well, and so my temper was just probably creeping up there as we were just going through all of these miseries. And I think I ended up walking ahead of her. And I don't know if you've ever seen banana spiders, but they're really big. They're probably about yay big. And there was one sitting up in their web up there. And I'm walking along, and I just hear Kim scream. And of course, I turn around and just, what? And she said, you just walked into that web, and it was one of the big spiders. Anyway, we ended up making it through, but that was a memorable time in our hike in Houston, Texas. So we learned not to do that.
Did you go hiking again?
Oh yeah, we went hiking and went on backpacking trips together, but never again there.
Sean and Kelly and my wife is Heidi. We've been married for 11 years, and we have 4 kids. And I'll give you 3 real quick short funny things. Short funny thing, 1 here. Oh, I said that. So on our wedding day, I remember being in the room getting ready, and a couple of my groomsmen came in, and they had newspapers and like bulletins and things. And I couldn't figure out what they were doing, and then they started folding them up and putting them in my shoes so that my heels would go up. So I don't think anybody knows that until this moment that there was actually paper in my shoes as I got married. And the second thing actually involves Ray and Samia. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to talk to Heidi's parents and ask them if I could marry Heidi, and so I had to go through her older brother Josh, Ken, and then she wanted me to meet Ray and Samia and get their approval as well. So I met with Ken. It was great. Met with Ray and Samia, and that was great as well. We met at Maggiano's and had lunch, and just a great time. We hit it off. And then I remember this is the first time I'd met them. So after lunch, we're going out into the parking lot to leave, and Samia says, "You're just like family to me already. Get back, get on that curb so I can give you a hug." And so she made me get up on the curb so I could reach up and give her a hug. But the funny thing about Heidi really is, and she'll laugh at this too, so I can tell us, but she mixes up sayings a lot. She'll say the wrong thing, and I know what she means, and then she'll laugh about it when she realizes, after I pause, like, did you really mean that? The other day she said, sometimes I just feel like we just need to get out of Jack. I was like, do you mean Dodge? We should get out of Dodge? She's like, oh yeah, Dodge, that's what I meant. So she says things like that all the time. One time we were driving, and we'd just had a long day at a church when we were up in Boulder, and we talked to a lot of people, and it just kind of wears you out. And she, as we're driving home, and she's tired, she says, I'm so tired, and I've just been around so many people. I just want to go home and just be a hobbit for a while. I said, what do you mean hobbit? And I was thinking, like, oh, you mean hermit. I always enjoy that with Heidi.
She has us for friends, so her grammar is.
That's right. I think she learned a lot of it from you, actually.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, it's great. Yeah.
Sean, I remember seeing some of your wedding pictures that you put out, and you guys were pretty much, face to face. And I said, that's false advertising.
Well, if you look at the pictures now and when you watch the video, it looks like Tiny Tim's wedding because all the groomsmen and the bridesmaids, and they're up there and we're like this big on the stage. It's pretty funny. So.
Brian Rutland. My wife is Heather, and we've been married 23 years, same as Nate. And we have 6 kids, and it's always weird to tell the story of how we met because I actually hired her. So when people, working at a summer camp, so when people say, how did you meet your wife? I say, well, I hired her, and it sounds like a dial-up bride or whatever kind of thing. But one thing that characterized our marriage the first couple of years was I brought to the marriage night terrors, which are crazy nighttime escapades of like screaming or walking around rooms and seeing people and stuff. So that was my problem. But one time I woke up in the middle of the night, just instantly awake, and my face was numb. And as I realized what had happened, Heather in a dream had closed fist punched me right in the face. And I was suddenly awake and just, what in the world? What kind of issues do we have in this marriage that her dreams are that kind of violent? Take a shot at me, but she's a sweet lady.
My name's Ken Murphy. Laura and I have been married 31 years. Beautiful 31 years. I was trying to think something funny. I didn't really have a whole lot, but it's kind of funny to me is when Laura was in junior high, she was dating this young guy at her Southern Baptist church, and they had an altar call if you wanted to give your life to full-time ministry, and he went forward, so she broke up because she never wanted to be in ministry. So I'm the whale that came and swallowed and brought her back to Nineveh, and so it's been neat to watch her thrive in that calling.
I'm Joel George, and my wife is Lana, and we've been married for 19 years, and we have 7 kids. It's not really a funny story, but we were planning our wedding well before the time we were engaged, and part of that was because I was having ring problems. We were at a Christian ministry, and while I was home on a break, like a Christmas break, I worked at the UPS distribution center at E470 in Peoria, I think it is, and saved money for a diamond. So I did the research and I bought a loose diamond. It was GIA certified, and and then I was going to have it set in a ring here locally, and so I took it to a jeweler, private jeweler, and when I got it back, it was crooked in the setting. And by the time I got it back, I was back at the Christian ministry down in Texas, and that's where we were married. And so I wasn't pleased with it, and basically had it reset down there in Texas. And so, in the meantime, the clock is ticking, and we already had April 28th as our marriage, as our wedding day. And so we were actively planning and everything. And so by the time I finally got the ring together, and asked her, it was April Fool's Day. And so we were actually engaged for less than a month, and before we were married. But it turned out well, and we've been very blessed, and she's my best friend, and I feel I've won the wedding lottery with Lana. So
That's a good
great blessing.
answer. Great. Thank you.